Hi, welcome to this week's Dragonblade Authors Unplugged. I'm so excited I get to talk to Leslie Vollard, Jude Knight, and Emily Murdoch this week. Ladies, thanks so much for taking the time.
Oh,
Pleasure.
Lovely.
Yeah. And the time zone was a bit of a challenge because we've got everybody from all over the place. So it's Jude is in tomorrow, and Emily's in wine time, and I'm in like the mid afternoon. And Leslie, I'm not sure where you where.
I'm in the afternoon. It's about 2:40 right now.
So we're in the same time zone. So we are all over the place this week. But let's start at the beginning of the releases this week. Lily Harlem also had a release, and I'll make sure I pop the link into the comments so you can grab that. Her book released first this week, Embraced by the Emperor. But the one that came after that was Jude's book, which is a Lion's Den book, and it's Thrown to the Lion. Jude, can you tell us about this one?
As with my other Dragonblade books, it was inspired by a folktale, and this time I took my inspiration from the Tinderbox. And so, as in the Hans Christian Andersen story, The Tinderbox, I have a person that's come back from the wars, in this case a woman, a widow twice over, having been married to two soldiers. She and her son are eking out an existence in London on what she can earn embroidering linens for a warehouse. So rich families used to have their crest on their linens. Somebody had to put that there. So this is her job. And she rescues Mrs. Dove-Lion. Someone shoves Mrs. Dove-Lion just as a large cart is trundling by, and she grabs her and pulls her out of the way, dropping her linens, which she's just bringing back from the warehouse. Mrs. Dove-Lion takes her back to the lion's den, sends all the linens off to the laundry and gets them fixed, and gives her a tinderbox. Inside the tinderbox are 3 tokens which she can use to call on Mrs. Dove-Lion for favours. So that's the setup.
Very cool.
My hero is a reluctant earl. He was the brother in Hook, Lion and Sinker, the heroine's brother. And we know from his backstory is that he was in the army came home and spent 3 years cleaning. He was the second son who unexpectedly inherited a huge mess, which he has spent years cleaning up. This year, he's thinking about a wife as his next step on being the perfect earl, and the offerings in the marriage mart are way too young for a rather tired soldier who really has nothing to offer, he feels, except his title. So when my heroine Dorcas is accused of theft by her former brother-in-law and imprisoned.
No way! Come on.
A cell at Bow Street. She sends a token to our wonderful Mrs. Dove-Lion, and Ben happens to be there at the time. He's left his coat behind the previous night and goes to pick it up. And so she sends Ben to bring Dorcas out of the magistrate's court, and of course that's the beginning of the love story. So
fantastic.
I had great fun with it. I'm fascinated by the whole idea of the camp followers as they used to be, the wives, the washerwomen, the sutlers, all those civilians, many of them women, many of them with children, some of them even married, walking in the train behind the army, wherever the army went. And that was how armies were until the Crimean War.
Yeah, like a roaming village.
Yeah. A roaming village, and a roaming village that was very much under threat. And so Dorcas has been an army wife since she was 17 when she eloped with the second son of an earl, it turns out, but he's a twin, and it's his twin that's out to get Dorcas and her son. So so that's quite a big part of the story, is that at one point Dorcas goes to Mrs. Dove-Lyon's masquerade wearing a skirt that she's made herself and painted with scenes of camp followers.
Oh, wow.
And she spends the entire night with former soldiers coming up and wanting to take her out into the garden and tell her how their lives have been since they left the army.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's
There's like stories within stories in this one.
So our hero is quite sort of suspicious of what's going on, but at one point a couple of the ex-soldiers bail him up and tell him his intentions had better be pure because they're watching.
Oh, fantastic. So
I had so much fun with this story. I think it's got all the feels, and it's and of course a happy ending.
We need
some
those.
Very real danger and a cute 4-year-old.
Oh,
you know, what else do you need?
That's everything. You got a dog, maybe that.
Oh, damn. No, she couldn't afford a dog. I could give Ben one, I suppose.
No, that sounds perfect. It sounds like a lot of fun, and I love the Lion's Den series, and I love seeing what everybody does with it. So like
so that's my tinderbox.
That sounds wonderful. Awesome. So the next book that came out this week is Leslie's book, and it's The Broken and the Bold, which is a great title, and it's book 3 in the De Vere's series. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us about that one?
Absolutely. So my book is about the long lost brother of the De Vere family. His sister. He has 3 sisters, all of whom think he is deceased. His family thinks he's dead, but actually he was imprisoned while by a traitor to the crown who wanted to blame everything on him. And thrown onto a ship. And while he was imprisoned there, he made best friends with a man named Liam. Now, our heroine is Liam's twin sister, who decided to disguise herself as a man, and she's now the captain of a pirate ship, going after her brother to rescue him. So I'm dressed as Finola, my heroine, she has to keep up her disguise at all costs. So we've got the secret identity that she's trying to hide throughout most of the first half of the book. Meanwhile, so she rescues a ship, and it turns out that Charles is on it. And she saves his life, and she's just missed her brother. Her brother was handed off to another ship. And so now they're both going to try and find Liam. And Charles heard all these stories about Finola from Liam while he was imprisoned with Liam. And so he's like half in love with her already and has no idea who she is.
Oh, that's so much fun.
So it's
fun mistaken identity stuff.
I love it. I have a very soft spot in my heart for Twelfth Night. Viola and her love for the Duke. And it's just I had so much fun putting that theme into a story. So they have lots of adventures at sea. There's a very evil villain who is this traitor to the crown who has imprisoned both Liam and Charles. And there's also lots of drama when at a certain point in the book they go home to Charles's family, where he's the son of a baron. And he's married this Irish pirate, and that creates certain amount of difficulty when he comes home, but everyone is also very delighted to see him. But they're all trying to figure out what to do about the pirates. And there's, yeah, well, and nobody knows quite her background. She's lying about her background when she meets Charles's family. And then there's these rumors of pirates in the area, and people are trying to sort of figure out where Captain O'Bannon is, which is her name when she's a pirate captain. So there are lots of hijinks ensue, but Charles is this lovely man who is absolutely in love with Finola, and he's got a lot of trauma to overcome. He's been imprisoned and abused for several years in this ship, and Finola likewise is just, she's so brave and so fierce, and she's got swagger that I wish I had, and she's got a very soft heart underneath all of that, and she and Charles really find true love together over the course of the book. So that's my story.
Oh, it's going to be hard for her to go back to not being a pirate too, I would imagine.
Yeah. That's we'll see how that goes. I have ideas for like subsequent stories that follow.
Is this the last book in the series?
Or no, this is book 3. We've got one more sibling who needs to get married off and have her happily ever after. So that's coming out in January.
Oh, fantastic. Great. Well, we have one more book that came out this week, and that's Emily's book, and it is also book 3.
Yes.
It's An Outside Chance, and it's the chances. And I love the setup. I love the tagline for this one. It's like one of my favorite taglines ever. That he's going to be rich soon and start winning if the cards would just behave.
Yeah. So this is book 3. So if you haven't read the first 2 books in the series, that's absolutely fine. You will be able to follow the story, but I do recommend you go back because you will meet the first 2 brothers. So we've got the eldest brother, William, who's very grumpy, very stern, very prim and proper. He really requires his family to be respectable, which of course they're not. So it's a constant battle. He's always losing. Then the second brother, John, is the kind of happy-go-lucky, cinnamon roll, golden retriever, doing his best and always failing. But in book 3, we meet George. George Chance, the Earl of Dundee, he's going to be rich, probably, as soon as these cards behave. Mm-hmm. He's very much the rake of the family. He is the black sheep. He's always on the outside going, yeah, but what if we put together a scheme? And he has disappeared off to Bath. The first 2 books are in London, Regency London, and George has disappeared off to Bath because there's better gambling there. And he's absolutely convinced that he is one of the best card players around. He can beat anyone he wants. He never cheats, of course, because he's a gentleman. But unfortunately, he runs into Miss Lockety. And this is Doris. She is a mathematician. And so she's calculating odds so fast that she beats him. And then she beats him again. And he is transfixed. The idea of a mere woman with brains like this is beyond all of his understanding. And so he becomes mildly obsessed with her. Now, Doris is in Bath for a very different reason. Doris's parents are both very unwell and the money has run out. And so she has told her parents that she's gone up to York to visit an aunt, and she is instead in Bath trying to raise funds through her very clever mathematical skill when it comes to cards and gambling. And George is not stupid. He very quickly realizes that Doris is eager for money and will only do things that are honorable. And so he challenges her to teach him how to play cards like she does. And he will pay for lessons. It's all above board. Don't worry about it. And of course, hijinks almost immediately ensue. There is the very awkward accidental purchase of a racing horse. There is gambling against the odds on purpose in order to lose. And all the time, Doris keeps thinking, one more lesson, and then I'm going to step away from this entitled Earl. He's so irritating. He's so rakish. He's so smug. I hate him. And every single lesson, she finds herself kind of charmed by this complete blackguard. And every lesson, George says, right, this is the one where I'll work out her secret, and then I'll never have to see her again. And he finds himself completely charmed by this woman who has no regard for him at all and isn't looking to be charmed.
Mhm.
And he's never encountered this before. It's absolutely fascinating. Unfortunately, both of them have a secret, and those secrets are at odds. And it all comes to a head. It gets very complicated, and you'll have to read it to find out.
Oh, it sounds like so much fun. It sounds like I love those like conflict lock kind of secrets where if one of them gets what they want, the other one can't have what they want.
And that's 100% what it is. And that's the trouble with gambling, is that if you win, it means that someone else has to lose.
Yeah. And her stakes are so much higher than his. She's got people to protect.
Yes. George is one of the classic heroes who is a rake, who actually has very deep feelings and very much intends to hide them. He doesn't want to appear weak. He doesn't want to appear that he really cares about his brothers and their opinion of him. And he's not lonely just because his two brothers have gone off and got married. So there's a lot of really fascinating opportunities to really have this tug of war of control, because both of them are absolutely convinced that they're the ones in control of this. Whatever this is, it's not a relationship, most certainly not. You know, it's a transaction. She's being paid to be there. It's fine. No feelings are definitely going to get caught at all in this scenario. And Doris is, you know, she's very mathematical. She's very logical. She doesn't really see the point of emotions because they betray you, and they're weak, and they allow you to get confused and not see things for what they really are. Numbers never lie. Numbers never dissemble. Numbers are always reliable. And she very quickly realizes that actually out in the real world, now she's left home and she's gone to the big city, numbers can lie, and so can her heart. And it gets very complicated.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it sounds like so much fun. And we have lots and lots and lots more chances to go.
We do. So there's one more brother. And he's a half brother. So book 4 is half a chance. And poor old Frederick. Very much someone who has been legitimized, but still is very clear that he is not a true member of the family. And of the 3 full brothers, some of them accept him, some of them loathe him, because of course it's evidence of their father's betrayal of their mother. And Frederick's kind of appeared in all 3 books as trying to be the kind of not voice of reason. He's very quiet. He's very unassuming. He doesn't want to rock the boat. He doesn't want to cause scandal. So he's always trying to remain in the background. The last thing he wants to do is cause even more friction with his half brothers. And unfortunately, that goes really badly wrong in the first chapter of his book. And there is scandal and he has to try and fix it.
We wouldn't have a story otherwise.
No.
Well,
And then
what thing you most fear, because tell me, character, what is the thing you most fear? Because I want to make it happen.
what would be the worst thing that could happen to you? Shall we do that right now? So that's those 4 brothers. And then we jump forward to the beginning of the Victorian era and we follow their children. So we follow all the cousins and all of the joys and difficulties of being the next generation. You know, you've got these 4 men who have these incredible reputations and these incredible stories and these incredible love stories. And how can you possibly find a love like your parents when, you know, even in, you know, the 1840s, you're not typically marrying for love if your name begins with Lord whoever or Lady whoever. You're having to make strategic alliances, and yet they are pushing the boundaries. Society is changing. It's not the Regency period anymore. You know, women are starting to have more opportunities. Men are not having to go off and be dukes if they don't want to. And so that part of the series kicks off with one of the 4 brothers deciding to give up their title while still living to try and give their eldest son a bit of responsibility. And it doesn't go well.
Well, I love the idea of getting to see the children and then also getting to revisit the whole entire family that way.
Yeah, and there's
really attached
problems between the brothers that are mostly wrapped up in the first 4 books. But, you know, if any set of 4 brothers, there's always going to be disagreements or rivalries, and they very much still continue and play out in the next generation.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Well, there's a lot to look forward to there. So we're actually recording this on Halloween, which is it's like it's an unabashedly great holiday because you because you don't have to buy things for people and you don't have to do like there's candy, like it's fantastic. So I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about it's not Halloween for Jude, but it's Halloween for all the rest of us. So I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about if you have any favorite Halloween traditions, and if you don't, if you have favorite candy.
I can talk about Guy Fawkes though.
Oh, that'll work. You don't have candy for Guy Fawkes, though.
I was going to say, I mean, it's only the last few years that Halloween in the UK, as you can tell from my delightful accent, it's not really been, it wasn't a deal when I was a kid. Like, honestly, like some people might dress up, but it was rare. Like if people knocked on our door as a child, we would be like, what are you doing? Oh. It's a big deal now, but it wasn't then. So I don't have many childhood Halloween memories to share. And to be honest, Bonfire Night, Guy Fawkes Night, the 5th of November is huge here in the UK for everyone. Halloween is still very much a small kids thing. But my impression is that in America, it's all ages, all adults, everyone, families dressing up and going wild.
And this decorating houses thing, which we sort of, I know, we sort of sitting back watching this and thinking, really?
I mean, we need to do both. We need to talk about Halloween and we need to talk about Guy Fawkes Day. So you're gonna have to give us like the across the pond definition of day, because we don't have it. And then also trying us to judge us for our Halloween houses.
We were debating this yesterday, whether Guy Fawkes was a celebration because he tried to blow up Parliament or a celebration because he failed.
Very much because he failed, unfortunately. He is not.
I know, but we'd like to think. No, he was not. No, he was not.
Poor Guy
Fawkes. Or particularly competent.
No, bless him. So for those who don't know, very, very, very quick, 1605, government is not popular in England, and a group of people conspire to blow up the Houses of Parliament, so our government. It goes wrong because Guy Fawkes, who's one of the conspirators, is discovered beforehand underneath the House of Parliament in the cellar with all the gunpowder intended. So it's a bit of a fake up. I mean, he's literally caught red-handed. He's executed very horribly, and there's a tradition pretty much ever since. It was a church order originally, but pretty much ever since. On the 5th of November, which is when he was found, we have big bonfires to celebrate the fact that he was caught. We often burn the guy, which is where you dress almost like a scarecrow up and then you burn him on top of a bonfire. We have lots of fireworks displays and lots of kind of bonfires and cooking outside and lots of like sweet treats. So that's our kind of thing. That's the 5th of November.
And did you have the tradition when you were a child of taking the guy around the neighborhood?
Penny for the guy.
Penny for the guy.
Penny for the guy. So this is originally a kind of late 1700s, I think it goes back to, where you dress up your guy, which is all we get, Guy as a generic man's name. You dress up a kind of scarecrow and then you take them around knocking on people's doors saying penny for the guy. And the idea is that, we've got to buy enough firewood to burn the guy. So you give them a penny to get the kids to go away, which again, a little bit reminiscent of Halloween, I guess. I was never allowed to do penny for the guy because my parents were like, you can't go around asking people for money. But it was, people still do it.
Money is okay. Money is...
It gets a bit tenuous there. So this year I've relocated to London, literally as of a few weeks ago. So I'm going to go for an autumnal walk with friends in Richmond Park, and then I've got a pub lunch, and then we're going to go up to Alexandra Palace and watch the firework display overlooking Alexandra Palace. So that is my November 5th plans. This weekend. But yeah, that for us in the UK is far bigger for adults.
Remember the 5th of November. I don't remember the rest of the rhyme. But that my enduring Guy Fawkes memory is of the morning of Guy Fawkes Day. We had made a magnificent guy. We'd all contributed. There were 4 children in my family at that point. The youngest brother hadn't arrived. And we got up in the morning. The guy had been left in the lounge sitting in a chair. And we got up, and he was in pieces, and there was a wooden sword in the middle of the pieces. My brother had had a nightmare.
Oh, no.
And had beaten this intruder.
Oh my goodness. Oh no.
So there you
I
go.
mean,
That's my.
that's kind of adorable.
That-
And the
that
full
is
quote,
my
I've just looked it up to
favourite
make sure I've got it
graphics.
right, is remember, the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason, and plot. For there is no reason why gunpowder treason should never be forgot. There you go.
The only reason I know anything about it is because of Jodie Taylor's Chronicles of St. Mary series, and they stumbled upon guy underneath Parliament, and they have to figure out how to
Really
not
not.
interrupt what's going on and make sure that he gets discovered and all that kind of stuff. That's the only reason I know anything about it.
But what about Halloween in the States? Because that's your main kind of autumnal holiday.
It's
Leslie, what do you do?
it's quite the wild celebration. My neighborhood takes it very seriously. But every house is decorated. There's a place a block over that covers their entire lawn in Halloween, giant blow up Halloween decorations, and the place next door to them has a 30-foot tall blow up Godzilla. The pride of the neighborhood. All the kids have to go take a picture with the Godzilla as part of their their Halloween rounds. So I the kids dress up, the parents dress up. It's a pretty big deal. We have a lot of fun. We eat a lot of candy.
It's a commitment.
Yep, it is.
Yeah, we used to take the kids to a neighborhood because we lived way out in the country, and so we didn't have neighbors. So we used to take the kids to the neighborhood to go trick or treating, and they would do. The houses it was an old an old Southern neighborhood, and they would do like haunted house front yards. So there would be people laying in coffins, and you would go up to get the candy, and they'd pop up and scare you. Or it's like it was so much fun.
Oh
It was so much
Oh, that's excellent.
and the kids and I remember when I was a kid, like figuring out what you were going to be for Halloween was a big deal. Like you get to figure out, and we didn't do store-bought costumes, so it was like had to figure out how you could make things. So remember I was a crayon.
Okay, so my question is, as a Brit who this is not a thing, when do you start decorating for Halloween, and then when does it calm down? Because that's a lot of effort, 30-foot stuff.
It comes down right after.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't linger. It comes down right after.
But like, how early are you putting this up like 2 weekends before? Like, how long do you get to enjoy the incredible effort that people put in?
I don't know. I was never a house decorator. Leslie, do you know?
In my neighborhood, it's like 3 or 4 weeks. So you get
so
nearly a month of it. People
Yeah.
start putting stuff up basically as soon as the school year starts in September.
Oh my gosh. Okay, all right. So really, you've got summer, then Halloween, and then as soon as they come down, Christmas stuff goes up. That's what
yes.
I'm. Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we wait until after Thanksgiving for Christmas.
Oh my gosh, I'd forgotten about Thanksgiving. When's Thanksgiving? I can't keep track of all these things.
Late November. I think it's
November.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moves around.
Leslie, what's your favorite candy?
My favorite candy? I love Reese's peanut butter cups. I
Do you
could
have the dark chocolate ones.
those. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Your peanut butter away from me. Absolutely not.
Thin ones, like they're so good because the chocolate to peanut ratio is just perfect.
Mm-hmm. Really
So no
is.
peanut butter cups. Emily,
No.
what are yours?
Well, I don't think we get those here. We must do somewhere, but I've not encountered them. But I'm not a peanut butter fan, so I haven't looked for them. And I don't eat meat, so most sweets are off the table for me because most sweets will have meat in. So I love a Kit Kat Chunky. Have they reached America yet?
What's a Kit Kat Chunky? We have
So
Kit
you-
Kats and Chunkies, but
So
not.
do you know what a Kit Kat is?
Yes.
Imagine that has been put in Willy Wonka's like magic maker, and it's just bigger. It's like the size of a Mars bar, but it's one Kit Kat row, but huge.
Okay, so same same ratio of chocolate to wafer.
Yeah,
but
so you get two lines for a Kit Kat. If you broke them off and you had one, and then you made it as big as a Mars bar, that's a Kit Kat chunky. And they come in they've got like a peanut butter one, they've got a white chocolate one, they've got caramel one, and they've got like the standard. Yeah, they're very good. They're very good because they don't fall apart and get all mushed up in your rucksack either, which is very important for me as a chocolate treat. I don't want it getting all manky.
No,
before
you gotta carry it with you. You gotta be able to,
you gotta think of these things.
What about you, Jude? What's your favorite candy?
I've been thinking about it, and lots of candidates really, but I'd have to come down to peppermint creams in the end.
Oh, those are yummy.
Yeah.
Yummy.
Dark chocolate
Yum.
on the outside, and a really pepperminty cream in the center. Yum.
Now I'm just hungry.
I wanted to live vicariously through the candy eaters. So,
are you not eating candy at the moment?
Not right now. I made myself because because TikTok is eating my brain, and they made peanut butter balls with peanut butter powder and applesauce. I did make myself those.
They sound quite healthy though.
It was, but you put dark chocolate on them, so
well,
dark chocolate's very good for you. Dark chocolate and red wine. If the Italians have taught us anything, it's have a little bit of both of those every day.
It was tasty, and they're gone now. So now I need another. Well, ladies, it was delightful to talk to you this week. It was great fun to learn about Guy Fawkes Day, and I would just like to remind everybody we also have going on right now, because it is Halloween. By the time this isn't going to work, because by the time this airs, it's going to be over. That we have the Halloween novellas, but we also have the Wraith at Midnight collection came out.
Yes,
so you'll be able to read that one. So you want to make sure you grab that while you can before the price goes up. I mean, this is a good segue to say that Dragonblade books are their best deal on pre-order and release. If you don't get them on release, you can grab them in Kindle Unlimited and read that way. So, ladies, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us. I really do appreciate it.
it's lovely meeting you all.